Right now, doing absolutely nothing, you're losing money. Not because the number in your account went down. Open your banking app. It's the same as yesterday, same balance. Nothing moved. And that's exactly the problem. Because while that number sits perfectly still, the one thing it's supposed to measure, what your money can actually buy, is shrinking quietly every single day. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the exact speed at which the cash in a normal savings account is dissolving right now. I'll show you a glitch in your own brain that makes this almost impossible to feel. And I'll explain why the people who run the economy don't just allow this to happen. They aim for it on purpose. So let me start with a slightly uncomfortable question. If you buried $1,000 in your backyard today and dug it up in 20 years, how much of it would still really be there? Hold that number in your head. We're coming back to it. Okay, let's name what's eating your money. It's called inflation. You've heard the word 1,000 times, but most people picture it wrong. They think inflation means prices going up. That's just the symptom. Here's the real definition. Inflation is your money losing purchasing power. Same dollar, less stuff. Picture a cup of coffee. Decades ago, that coffee might have cost you a quarter. Today, in a lot of places, you're handing over $5 for basically the same drink. The coffee didn't get 20 times better. Your dollar got weaker. And it's not just coffee. A movie ticket, a gallon of gas, a postage stamp, rent. Line them up across the decades and you see the same quiet trend. The number on the price tag climbs and the power of your dollar slides the other way. Over the last century, inflation in the United States has averaged somewhere around 3% a year. 3%. That sounds harmless. Almost boring. Here's why it isn't. There's a shortcut people in finance use called the rule of 72. You take the number 72, divide it by the inflation rate, and you get the number of years it takes for your money's value to get cut in half. At 3% inflation, 72 divided by 3 is 24. So a dollar today is worth about 50 cents in roughly 24 years, even if you never spend it, even if you do everything right and just hold on to it. Now remember that $1,000 in the backyard? Dig it up in 20 years. The bills still say 1,000. Count them. It's all there, but it buys what about $550 buys today. Nearly half of it just evaporated. You didn't spend it. Nobody stole it. It lost value sitting in the dirt, doing absolutely nothing. So here's the obvious question. Why would money be designed to shrink like this? Who decided that was okay? This is the part that surprises people. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve here in the United States, actually target inflation of about 2% a year, not zero. They want your money to slowly lose a little value on purpose. Why on earth would they do that? Because the alternative is scarier. The opposite of inflation is deflation. Prices actually falling. And that sounds amazing, right? Everything gets cheaper. But think about what happens if you know your money will buy more next month. You stop spending today. So does everyone else. Businesses see sales dry up, they cut costs, they lay people off. Those people spend even less, and the whole thing spirals down. So a little inflation is like grease in the engine. It nudges money to keep moving through the economy instead of freezing in place. The catch? That grease comes out of your pocket. Some people call inflation a hidden tax, and it's a good description. Nobody mails you a bill. There's no line on your paycheck that says inflation. But every year, your idle cash quietly buys a little less. It's a tax on simply holding money, and you pay it automatically without ever signing anything. Now the mental glitch I promised at the start, economists have a name for it, money illusion. Your brain is wired to think in nominal terms, the actual number, instead of real terms, what that number can buy. And that wiring quietly fools you. Here's how it plays out. Say your salary jumps from $50,000 to $52,000. You feel richer, you got a raise. That's a win, right? But if prices went up 4% that same year, you can actually afford less than you could before. The number on your paycheck went up. Your real buying power went down. Your brain threw a little party for the bigger number and completely ignored the fact that your life got more expensive. That's money illusion. You watch the number. You never feel the shrinking, which is exactly why almost nobody notices this happening in real time. So let me finally answer the question I opened with. What does all of this actually mean for money just sitting in your bank account? Here's the uncomfortable math. Say a typical savings account pays you a small amount of interest. Now say inflation is running higher than that interest rate, which plenty of the time it is. That means your real return, the interest you earn minus inflation, is negative. Your money is going backwards every single year, even while it's technically earning interest. The number creeps up a little. The value slides down more. You can be earning money and losing money at the exact same time. That's the rate I promised you at the very start. It's not some mysterious force. It's just what you earn minus what inflation takes. And when that's a negative number, your idle cash is melting, slowly, silently, and pretty much guaranteed. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. That's your call, and everyone's situation is different. But here's what understanding this changes. People who really get inflation stop treating cash as automatically safe. They realize cash has a job: emergencies, near-term spending, peace of mind, and for that job, it's perfect. But cash sitting completely idle for decades isn't neutral. Standing still is a choice, and that choice has a price tag. It's why, historically, people have looked toward things that tend to grow at or above the rate of inflation, so their money at least keeps pace instead of quietly dissolving in the background. What those things actually are, and the trade-offs that come with each one, that's a whole video of its own. Let's tie it together. 3 things to walk away with. 1. Inflation isn't prices going up, it's your money's power going down. Same dollar, less stuff. 2. It's not an accident. A small amount is targeted on purpose, which means this isn't going away. 3. Because of money illusion, your brain almost never notices. You watch the number. You miss the value. So back to that $1,000 in the backyard. It was never really about the dirt. Buried in a checking account, under a mattress, it doesn't matter. Money that just sits still doesn't stay still. It shrinks. The good news? Once you can see it, you can't unsee it. And that's the first step to making sure your money is at least working as hard as inflation is working against it. If this finally made inflation click for you, the next video breaks down where people actually put money so it can keep up. I'll link it right here. And I'm curious, what's something you remember being way cheaper? Drop it in the comments. I read them. I'll see you in the next one.